What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Huddle Within podcast. Once again, just want to thank you guys for tuning into all the episodes if you have, and being along this journey with me. If you do like the content so far, please subscribe wherever you get all your podcasts. Leave a 5-star review if you can as well. And we put out podcasts every single Wednesday discussing the deeper impact of sports within our lives. So if there's anything that you want to discuss or talk about, feel free to leave a comment down below in any of the episodes. Or also hit me up on my social medias. I would love to interact with you guys and kind of want to discuss what you guys want to discuss and listen to as well. So your feedback goes a long way. And I really appreciate you guys once again. And if it's your first time listening and you do enjoy this episode, be sure to check out the other episodes I've got as well. This is the second guest that I have on the podcast, and it's with great honor and excitement to bring on one of the world's best ever FIFA players, Mark11, who's also a very good friend of mine. We've played football together for a few years back. So I brought him on today to kind of discuss his journey going into esports, which is quite a similar journey to a professional athlete going into a professional standpoint, but this being on a more esports scale. So we just dive into his journey and most notably talk about his infamous World Cup run, which had worldwide coverage across all of social media and all world news. So it's great to, kind of get into inside of I guess, his fame and his rise to success. And now currently he's at Ipswich Town FC, which is a Premier League club. We also discuss that journey and that process there. And I also want to shout out Mazakhary, one of my friends also, who is partnering up with me on this episode. He does his haircuts at home. I'm going to link his description there. I also mentioned on the episode, but wanted to give another shout out here. A really good barber. He cuts my hair on a regular basis. He does cuts at home. So if you follow his Instagram and you're keen on having a haircut, have a look at his page. Feel free to book a haircut in if you are keen, if you are living in Melbourne, which is where I'm from. And also feel free to look at his content as well. We sponsor this. We play a little game at the end, Mark and I, of a blind top 10 rankings. Mazakhary has those blind top 10 rankings on his TikToks as well. And hopefully when I go get a haircut next, I'll feature on that too and be sure to tag yous. But again, feel free to check that out. And I guess without pondering on, really enjoy this episode. There's a lot of good insights. It's the second time that we've obviously brought someone on, and we do have plans to continue to bring on guests. So if you like the episodes featuring guests, I also do solo ones, but if you do like the guests, feel free to leave a 5-star, leave a good review, good rating, and we'll continue to look for guests as well as I continue to grow on this podcast. And this is probably going to be one of the biggest guests I'll have. So I was really excited to get someone of that caliber on. So really enjoy the listen, and I will catch you guys next week. Welcome to the Huddle Within podcast, where we go beyond the surface to uncover the real impact of sports in our lives. Whether it's lessons of resilience, the passion that fuels us, or the stories that connect us all. This is where the game gets personal. I am Daniel, a regular sports fan like you, and together we'll explore what sports truly means beyond the surface. So step right into the huddle and let's get into it. Is going on, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. It is with great pleasure that I bring on Mark11 as another guest on the pod. So Mark11, thank you for tuning in today.
All good, happy to be here.
Yeah, cheers. So I've got a few little things that I wanted to pod down, make sure that I'm getting correct, just your career highlights. So 3-time E-League Australian title winner in 2021, 2023 and 2024. You're a 7-time Oceania champion. You're also in the Vice World Champion in 2023, winning that illustrious prize. And you're also the ranked number 6 player in the world in FIFA. And you're also ranked number 1 in the region as well. And last but not least, fun fact, you're also was my centre back at Spring Hills. So that's probably the biggest achievement of all 4 of them. But that's how I got you on today. But again, really happy to have you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all you got all the facts right, so I'm happy with that part. It's a good start.
And I know that you've played a few teams, and most recently now part of FootWiz. So for those that don't know what FootWiz is basically a massive FIFA Ultimate Team platform. We were able to search players, kind of see the market, and they obviously do a whole lot of other things. The fact that Mark's playing under them probably speaks to that. But again, we thought we'd just jump onto this podcast, interview you, and kind of see how your journey brought up as a basically a sports footballer, and it kind of still relates to what we talk about here, just on the esports scale. And it'll be interesting because obviously a lot of people probably don't really know like the ranks and the requirements to become an esports professional FIFA player. So honestly, really excited to have you here as mentioned again. So I think without further ado, we can probably just kick into it. So I think the first question I've got for you is basically, yeah, how did it all start, man? Like, how did you decide that you were going to be a professional FIFA player?
To be honest, there was no actual like plan for it. I was like, yeah, first of all, you have to be 16 years old to compete, and I
Yeah,
was like 14, 15, just playing the game normally,
yeah,
just like every guy in the world that just enjoys the game. And then I've also got very strict Arab parents, so
yeah,
in school it was quite hard to play the game. I could only play like what 2 days a week, and the internet would cut out at like nine
yeah,
p.m. But then I'm just there still grinding when I can. But yeah, I've never had any intention to become a pro. I just played my first tournament. I was seven. I was 16 in Australia, and I came third in Australia. So from that point on, I knew I was clearly good enough to compete.
yeah. I can relate to, I guess, the strict parents as well because I remember playing video games. I was only allowed to play on the weekends too, but it's just
Yeah.
crazy how you in like 3 days or probably 2 days of actually playing, you managed to get that good as well. And I guess talking about that first tournament, when did you start realizing that you could actually get into something with FIFA? And I think with when you mentioned like strict Arab parents as well, I guess they would have thought like, how could you possibly make a career out of this as well? It would have came a shock to them too. So kind of just talk to me about that journey going up from that first FIFA tournament and until now.
To be honest, the first tournament I played, I won like 2.5K. So that was already like to my parents that they couldn't care less and they didn't like believe any of it or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's good money for me. And then after that, I played another tournament like a month later, came third again, played again, came fourth, and I came fourth again. So I was like top four in four tournaments, and there was like a playoff after, and I came third in that one, and I got like 15K from that. So I racked up about 30K when I was like 17, I was 16 honestly, and then from that point on, they knew it was like, okay, maybe this is serious. And then I qualified to my first international event, which was in London. So I was
Nice.
17. It was a 2v2 tournament. We qualified there, and my parents always a bit sketchy to let me go, so I went alone. I was 17, traveled to the UK alone, came second in the world with my teammate, and I won. I think it was 70. I'll say $70,000. And obviously, when they say $70,000, my parents get a bit excited about that, and they say, okay, so maybe he's got a bit of potential. But they still want me to focus on school, and I'm still at university, just all because the strictness of Arab parents, that's all ethnic parents, and like I guess children would know that school and education is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think I was going to mention that. So you told me before the call that you're obviously still studying and stuff, and it's great that you still kind of, even though you're probably doing really well in FIFA at the moment, you still have that sort of backup plan, and your parents are, I guess, in a way, trying to also keep you humble and say that this dream can be achievable in something, but there's always good to have something in the backup. But I guess how do you kind of intertwine the two and just make, I guess, time to study as well as also playing FIFA on the side?
I can't lie. My mum always reminds me after every single tournament. She goes that like every single year she goes, "This won't last. This won't last." And like obviously she's still very supportive of me. She wakes up, watches the games, but she knows it's not like a full time like forever in my life thing because everyone has like their time where they eventually have to retire. But in regards to uni's only like 3 days a week, so I'll just go to university 3 days, 3 hours each class, and like honestly, it's easy to balance it. I've maybe had a few hard like units where I had to struggle with it, but I've not failed any so far after 4 years, so I'm doing pretty well.
That's awesome. How long do you have left?
One more year, I'll finish this year. I've got about 4 units left, so half the year I should be done.
Nice, nice. Well, good luck with it. And I think the way we can try to transition into this as well is with obviously the fact that you've got university 3 days a week. I wanted to kind of just touch on, I guess, I don't know how I would say is probably like training or preparation routine before probably going into a tournament or a game. It's something that I guess people from the outside looking in would understand the normal sporting like background as well, like trying to go into trainings, playing physically, health, diets, and all that stuff. But how does that kind of integrate into esports? Like how is it different? Because obviously it is a lot of mental barriers, but again, there's still hard work and training that is required to obviously become that level. So give us a kind of just daily routine.
To be honest, I'd say it's honestly pretty similar to just like a normal like athlete. Like you still have to get the right sleep, you still have to eat good, you have to mentally prepare, you have to practice. Of course, that's probably the most three most important things. But usually, I just wake up. So I've got a tournament at like 12. I've got a few weird superstitions that I've got. Like I don't eat or something sometimes, but usually I just like prepare normally. Just wake up at say 10 o'clock, eat. I have like two bananas usually. Just and I just practice. That's all you really do. It's obviously different to like football and soccer. You have to go and actually like physically warm up. But here, it's just you just play a few practice games and you should be ready to go.
Yeah, that's good to know. I think there's still kind of those superstitions, routines that always come in place, especially when I'm playing
Yeah,
soccer today. So I've got a match tonight, and I'm obviously trying to just get into my superstitions, and that's trying not to eat before the game. And if I was to eat, it would be pasta. And I'll tell you why, Mark, because back when we were at Spring Hills, when we probably only won two games, the two times we actually won, I had pasta before the game.
yeah,
So
pasta. You should have ate every single game. What's happened
I
there?
did, but then literally
It
the
didn't
next,
work.
the next week, bro, when we had, I don't know who it was, I think it was Barnstonworth. I think we came off that, you remember that 1-0 win at Chug? We came off that, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have pasta the next day. And I think we just got smacked. And I was like, yeah,
It's not. Yeah, it's not worth
there's
it.
probably no superstitions, but yeah, that's probably a whole nother conversation we can get. I think a complete contrast, Spring Hills to being now you like winning in esports. But yeah, again, in terms of like the competitions, I would like you to just kind of give us a rundown of how like the competitions actually work and what separates players from others, and just seeing like the routine, because I think a lot of people, yeah, don't really know about the rise of esports. So it's very much a new kind of thing that's obviously grown over the past few years, and it's become something that's extremely serious. But I think people don't really know exactly what it takes and what actually happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, I feel like people don't know how many people actually like play esport in the game. Like there's like millions, even I'll say like billions that play this game, which probably not billions, but like a lot of millions that play this, and like there's a good percentage of that actually compete and just don't make it. Like, and for me right now, it's obviously as we speak, I'm like sixth in the world ranked. Like that's a crazy thing to like think of and like know that I am that good. But it is actually kind of crazy how like people don't understand that it's an actual like thing that like it's a real part of like life and you can make money and stuff like that. But yeah, it's competitions wise, it's usually just season starts. It's pretty competitive at the start. You have a few big tournaments at the start, which is obviously never ideal because you've only got a few weeks to learn the new game and warm up. And then after that, you've got your own regional tournaments. You usually have three or four where you compete regionally. And so obviously I'm in Australia, so I just play four tournaments in Australia, and that's for me. That's already finished. And then you move on to your league, so you play anywhere in the world you want. Obviously, a team has to pick you up. So England, Spain, Italy, Australia, you name it. And then after that, you've got if you qualify, you've got the Champions League you can play. That's obviously for Europeans only. And then we got the World Cup, and obviously that's basically the World Cup is where everyone wants to be. Like that's where the money is, that's where the fame is, where everything is. So there's usually 24 or 32 players every single year in the World Cup, which is like the best of the best, basically. So usually starts around when FIFA comes out, so usually like September, October, around there. It used to be lot more competitive and like more tournaments back in the day, but obviously I was too young to play, so it's a shame I couldn't play in it. But then obviously for now, what happens is you just get the game, play for a few weeks, season starts straight away, practically just go straight into it.
Yeah, well, it's a perfect transition into, I guess, your massive, infamous World Cup run, finishing, I guess,
Yeah.
second there, and it really blew up. Like even for me as a mate, knowing what happened, but actually, like towards like the whole news, it was on everywhere how you did finish second, and don't want to get too controversial about it, but for those that do know, it was a straight robbery, in my opinion. But obviously, that's not going to be for you to say here. But I guess take me through that whole journey, because even the fact that you came second in the world, winning 150,000 is no steep feat. Like I think that's unbelievable. Like honestly, so like credit to you for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, yeah, I guess take me through that journey. I think it was with Dire Wolves was the team you were at that time. So yeah, I guess that whole process, the whole journey going to the end, the backlash, the feedback, and I guess all the mental stuff you went through too.
There's a lot. We could be here for 4 hours talking about this. To be honest, I was like, I think I was 18. It was my first ever qualified World Cup for, so I just went into it just not expecting to even like come anywhere near where I came. But it was just a fun tournament to play and obviously good money. And then I just rocked up. So I was a free agent. I was not signed by anyone in that time,
Okay.
and then I qualified for the tournament. And then Footwiz approached me and said, "Hey, we'll sign you for literally just this tournament." So I'm like, "I'll sign for this tournament, give you a bit of money, and you can represent us with our kit and stuff like that." And then that happened, and got into it. Got the group stage done. I finished, I think, third, and you had to come top four. I came third, went to the bracket. I beat the Champions League winner in the first round. Then I beat like the Italian winner in the second round. And then I kept going. And I was in the semi final before I knew it. It was like the emotions. Obviously, you have to like maintain your emotions because the games are always back to back. We had a break from like the semi final to the final, but yeah, other than that, we just got to the semi final. I won that game, and then straight in the final where we unfortunately did lose. But yeah, like obviously it would be amazing to win. Obviously, you can see like the little thing back there. That's my second place thing, but it would have been good to win. I don't really care like about the money. It's just about like the money's obviously good and stuff, but it's about like the accolade of like calling yourself like a world champion. So obviously, I can still maybe become a world champion, but becoming that top level is not easy to do. Like no one's ever won it like back to back, for example. Only like one person's won it twice in their whole life, so it's not an easy thing to do. And like coming top two is already like crazier than 99.9% of achievements that people will have. So obviously, I'm still very happy for it. Like as I look back after it, but yeah.
I guess in the final itself, I would love to talk about, I guess, the magnitude of that situation and how you're able to kind of like maintain the pressure. I think from what I saw, there was obviously a massive like crowd there, and then also the live stream on the world. Did that ever like go into your head that like as we normally play FIFA, we're obviously in our rooms playing for fun as a game, but then like putting that into actual real life professional environment in front of like maybe millions of people watching around the world, like how were you able to kind of like understand that, or did that ever come to your mind while playing? I suppose it wouldn't, but just really want to know, I guess, what's inside the head of Mark11 in that moment, being
Yeah.
in a World Cup final.
I can't lie to you. They gave us like heart rate monitors, which like we had to wear to see our heart rate, and like my heart rate was like amazing. There was like no like nerves or like it wasn't like racing. Like I actually had a sick heart rate, like in regards to like the pressure and like nerves aspects of it. So I was obviously quite like happy with that. Obviously, I assume that was low because I had no pressure on me. So when you have no pressure on you, there's no reason to be nervous. But obviously, I do think like having pressure on you is good because if you don't have pressure on you, that means like you're not expected to do anything. But if you've got pressure on you, people expect stuff from you. I saw that like quote on TikTok somewhere, and like it stuck by me a long time. Like pressure is good to have. Like you, like, don't be scared to have pressure. But yeah, I just maintained myself. I was 2-0 up early on, and then unfortunately it was 3-2 down, and then 3-3, and then went to penalties. But yeah, like there was generally I felt no nerves, no pressure, no nothing.
No, that's good to know. I think that's probably like the elite mentality that is required to be at the level you are. So it's really good to know as well that you're able to kind of stay focused and kind of handle that pressure given the magnitude. I feel like personally I'd struggle a lot, but I guess that's why you're up there as well. And I think yeah, it goes more into kind of the mindset and preparation. So you obviously said that there was like a little bit of a break between the semi-final and the final. So just talk to me about kind of how the preparations were. I mean, leading up to each stage of the finals, but then we're having that break and going on to the final as well. Any of the superstitions that like you brought up as well that you probably utilized in this tournament too.
To be honest, there's not like I had no preparation. I had like no coach back then. It was just me and myself. The guy behind me was he's my manager right now, Denman. He's just a coach. Like, he's a manager. He's not actually a coach. He's just there for just support, I guess. But yeah, I generally had no coach. No one analyzing my gameplay, my opposition. I was just going in there, just playing free balling everything, and I had like no backing, I guess. But obviously, it was my fault for not getting a coach. But I prefer not having like a coach either way. So I was completely fine with it. And then the preparation, honestly, there was there's just nothing. I just chill, play practice games, have a few bananas, and that was basically it. Yeah.
Nice, nice. And I think the one thing I probably also want to ask as well is that after the final is just kind of like the not the backlash, but more like the aftermath of that final and kind of what happened after. Because I know that obviously you signed with Footwiz permanently, and I think in a sense of what I've been looking at, the journey actually probably took you to heights that you probably never imagined. Even being in that World Cup final and getting that exposure, and then obviously being like millions of people like talking about it. How did you kind of feel like when you started to probably get a little bit of, I guess, fame? I would like to call it, for lack of a better term. But like, how did you kind of approach that, and what did it lead to in the future?
Yeah, yeah, I got a lot of like support, of course, from like literally like everywhere. I was like on social media. I was on like BBC. I was at like 10 million interviews that I did. It was pretty much like everywhere. Everyone like knew about it. But to be honest, like obviously it gets like a bit annoying because like you get like reminded of, oh, like this happened. So it was annoying to
Sure.
like see it, and it's calmed down like a little bit. Obviously, I got like a few thousand followers from it. I got from Twitch viewers from it. It was obviously good, but yeah, obviously the pain is different to obviously being second to being first. So it does still hurt, I guess, whenever I think about it.
Yeah, I think, well, this is the thing with me doing this podcast is like a lot of media tends to like look on the fact that you quote unquote lost in the tournament, but what they fail to see is kind of the rise to what your successes are now. So yes, you may have came second, and that's what they're going to ponder on. But if you actually look at your journey and moving forward from that, you've actually won in my eyes, in everyone's eyes, and a lot of people's eyes there. And I think that's what I wish personally that the story was more prominent about, is like your actual success post coming second, because I think you coming second doesn't actually mean that you failed. I think it just led steps to success, and we forget to realize that a lot of tournaments happen in the future as well. So there's always going to be that opportunity for you to win a World Cup as well. So I guess, yeah, what are the wins that you've had from that essential loss from what the media's kind of portrayed and everything? Is I'd love to hear that part, me interviewing you. So
Too bad. I can't lie to you. It's been like amazing. Like I haven't. I always tell this to myself. I'm always like I'm a very in my regards to like my mentality. I'm a
yeah,
very negative person. It's for a reason though. Like I'm negative because I don't want to be positive, and then something bad happens, and after that, then I won't feel good about it. So if you're, I feel like if I'm negative sometimes, it's kind of helps me if I do lose because I won't like be angry at myself for it or think about it all the time. But obviously, it's not a great mentality. I will say that, but it just works for me. So I do just follow it. But yeah, I've had like after that, I've had three amazing seasons. I came the year after, I came fifth in the world, so I won like I think like $70,000 from that too. So it was still amazing. Like after that, and then this season now we're still going ahead. Just that's another good season so far, and we're still going for now.
yeah. So talk about this new season. So I've seen actually online, and this is probably something that's really massive, and this is where everyone can kind of relate to now. You've actually signed for Ipswich Town FC, a Premier League team that is playing in Football Premier League. They also have obviously their league as well. So talk me through that process and kind of signing now for Ipswich Town, which is unbelievable and amazing. And congratulations to you as well. And kind of talk about how that works now with being a part of a Premier League team and association with that. And I guess a little bit of benefits and kind of extra things that comes with being technically an Ipswich player. So yeah, just like to hear about that current story. So what you're doing now.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Australian E League got cancelled, so I had to find like a different route, and it was like either I was going to play in the Premier League or the Serie A in Italy. So it's probably my two main options. Even like the EMLS in America. So I had a few options to go to, but I chose the Premier League, and then we went there. We got in contact with Ipswich. They said straight away, "Yep, we'll sign you." They were excited for it, and then the season did a few photo shoots. Actually, it's quite a lot of photo shoots, a lot of media. Went to the stadium. Met like basically everyone. We got tickets to Ipswich, Manchester United. We got like the box office seat. It was honestly an amazing experience. All thanks to Ipswich, of course. And then the season started about 2 weeks ago. Had the Premier League group stage, finished first in that, and then we go again in I guess on 2 weeks, about 1 or 2 weeks, and we got the finals.
Yeah. So do you have to obviously travel there, being in the Premier League, like on a regular basis to play these matches, to obviously get the good connection and internet?
Yeah, yeah. I've probably been there about in the last month. I've been there probably like three times already, and then I'll be fourth in a week. So it's pretty lots of traveling to do, lots of 24-hour flights. But yeah, it's of course worth it.
Yeah. Have you considered like moving there for like the duration of the season? Has that been something on the cards? I know you're obviously studying, but maybe to make the trip
Yeah,
easier or whatnot.
yeah. Obviously, it's always like ideal to just like stay there for however long I can. But like, there's more to like life than just that. Like, I've got like friends here. I've got my university here, my family here, which is the most important thing. And like honestly, it's depressing being in England. It's like there's no sun. Obviously, I've got like friends there, but they're like obviously like colleague friends. Like I'm not gonna like go out with these guys, for example, and like spend time with them. Obviously, I'm still mates with them, and we go out here and there. But it's obviously nothing like compared to your best mates back in Australia.
Sure, yeah, for sure. I can 100% agree there. I was in Spain for 6 months, living there, and I can definitely
Yeah.
say that nothing's better than home. Like there are aspects that you take from a different country, different culture that you enjoy, but at the same time, when you're away from your family and people that you know, it's really difficult to adapt to something different. And the weather doesn't help too, especially now since we're like well closing off summer, but England weather's always terrible anyway. So yeah, it makes sense why that was the case. And I think going back to what you mentioned about Ispish signing for them and having all that like media coverage and all that, how does that make you feel like starting to become like it feels as though I don't know how to explain it, but outside looking in, it's like you're a new signing for a professional footballer and then having all this media putting up the shirt and all these things. Like talk me through that process. And I take it it'd be pretty draining to obviously answer a lot of questions and go through all that stuff. So kind of just give us like a bit of an insight on that.
Yeah, to be honest, you just like rock up to the club, you meet like everyone. You have to. They've got like a whole like page of like recordings, media, like signing, wearing your shirt, everything you have to do, which is like obviously like a must. So they can upload it on their socials, and it's like pretty funny usually when they upload on like their Instagram. People always comment, "Oh, can this guy play centre back for us? Or can he play striker for us?" I'm like, guys, no, I'm just like an esports player, so it's pretty funny when like I see those comments. Obviously they're jokes, but it's still like laughable to look at. But yeah, it's like a normal process. You're starting for a new team, you just play, you represent them, and that's basically it. They post you when you win, post you when you lose. They're always supporting you no matter what.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, I think going a little bit off topic as well. I think I failed to mention like when you're playing FIFA, there's something that probably people don't realize as well. Obviously, when you're playing in a professional mindset as a footballer, you deal with different kind of setbacks and things. But I think one of the most frustrating things, even for me as a gamer, is the lag in games. So I don't know how the internet is, but I know in Australia that it's shocking. So like, how do you deal with lags, and how does that kind of work? So if you have like a bad connection, does that submit in a forfeit, or do they have to reschedule? Like, how does that kind of work? Because I don't think people really look at that as well. Like that lag can be a massive factor in there. Like obviously you've got pitches that are probably wet, dry, and those factors that are involved in physically playing. But there's also like that type of factor playing in esports too.
Yeah, it's actually it's funny you say this because it's become really massive recently, even in actual like EA held tournaments where connection. It's not even like it's not lag. It's just like the actual feel of the game where some people have better connection than the other, and it's a pretty big issue right now. Like you see scorelines like 10-0, 15-2. It's very obvious to see. But obviously, for people that are not playing and not professionals, that they don't see and care about that stuff, so they just see, oh, you lost 10-0, you must suck. So obviously it's very annoying for that aspect of it, and it's a pretty bad issue right now. Like it does affect a lot of stuff. Like it's honestly it's one of the worst things to happen in our esports so far, and I just hope they fix it. But yeah, you just gotta like there's not much you can do to be honest. You gotta like battle with it, and that's basically it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well, tying as I forgot to also bring up as well. So you're not only dealing with the internet, the lag issues, but the game always changes. Like there's always different patches, there's different skills and things that are more meta, stuff that is more overpowered, certain players that are more faster than others. So yes, it does take a lot of, I guess, skill and heights and hard work to get to where you are, but it's also like when you're up there and you're playing at professional level, you also need to adapt to new environments, new patches, new kind of gameplays and all those things. So how are you able to maintain your consistency through FIFA? Because for those that don't know, obviously the FIFA comes out every year with a new FIFA. Reason being is obviously new players come to the game and they join different clubs. But again, they always have new graphics, new systems in place. So you're virtually like without literally playing a new game, you actually kind of are. And that's probably different with the Premier League or like the league. You kind of know what you're going to get season by season. But with esports and the game being different, it's very unpredictable. So tell me how you kind of like manage that.
I can't lie, yeah. There's like every year, and obviously there's patches in between. So every year, it's not obviously a whole different game, but there's like core stuff that you have to master and like be good at, or else you're just not going to make it in that game. And in regards to like, there's consistent patches during the game. So say like you can score long shots after 4 weeks, you might be able to not do that anymore. So you have to be like really good at adapting. And if you don't adapt, you just get left behind. To be honest, so you have to. It's an unforgivable system. Like if you're not good, you're not going to ever be good at that patch or this game specifically. So you do have to like actually like lock in and actually like understand what's good and how you can improve and adapt in a short space of time.
Yeah, it's really good to know because I think when people compare to esports, they probably like fail to understand the difficulty that comes with that. So it's really good to get like your insight there. And I think speaking of I guess esports again, just to wrap up, I guess a few things about FIFA. What would be your I guess toughest opponent or moment? Obviously, despite probably the runner up game there in the World Cup, but again, your toughest probably opponent you've probably faced.
To be honest, it's probably him. I've played him in a few tournaments.
Yeah,
He's one of the best players in the world. Like
yeah,
he's like we're good friends too. Like I've got no hate for him. We're very good
yeah, of
friends.
course.
He's also he's in the Premier League too. Like he plays for Liverpool. We might match up in the final, so we're still
Perfect.
good friends. But there's so many good players, so many good competitors. Like it's fun going to like these events because you get to meet everyone. It's always a fun time to spend and talk to everyone. But yeah, there are I could be here all day just naming all the best players and the hardest games I've had. But yeah, everyone's at the top level. Everyone's elite.
Yeah, and then I guess probably a secret one for gamers like myself. What would be like the secret tactics or FIFA teams that you'd probably recommend to FIFA players listening?
To be honest, I just recommend watching like pro players on like that stream. Just watch pro players and just always because it's always changed. So if I say this now, it might change in 2 weeks. So
Yeah, of
always
course.
watch like pro players that play and see what teams are using, what formation they're using, what tactics they're using. That's what I would say really.
Yeah. And then I guess moving into that, yeah, besides obviously looking into YouTube and having like research on professional players, what would be like for a young player your advice if they wanted to pursue esports and what it would take if you were to give probably younger you that advice as well, but also someone that is aspiring to potentially be a professional esports FIFA player or even any esports to be honest.
Mm. I'd probably say I'll give you I think three dot points that are very like important and like the most important one is you actually have to play. Like you have to play every single day, every single like hour. You have to put hours in. Like when I was 16, I was me and this one of my good friends in the scene. We used to play like just friendlying each other, versing each other till like 5 a.m. every single night for a long time. Obviously that sounds like really like nerdy and like oh what are you doing with your life? But it was like school holidays, so I just thought, yeah, let's just play. And then that obviously helped me so much. I learned so much. And it's all about practice. Like back when I was younger, I used to play like this because obviously when you get older, you have more priorities in life. But when I was younger, I had nothing. I had school and that was it. So I just played the game as much as I possibly could, and eventually it paid out. But yeah, that's probably the first dot point. The second one is you have to watch obviously the best players. Like I guess in football and soccer, you watch like Messi and Ronaldo. You see what they do. You try to be like them. It's the same as like esport. You watch the best players, see what they do, and you try to mimic them. And then thirdly, it's just probably your mentality. If you have a bad mentality, there's no point even like playing. Like you have to understand that you're not going to win every game. You're going to lose games. You're going to get rigged in a game. You're going to get unlucky. You're going to get lucky. Like stuff like that happens, and you have to like mentally overcome that. Probably I guess
Nice.
the three main things I'd say.
Yeah, that's really good insight, especially the mentality. I think mentality is the key there. I think having that confidence, belief in yourself, but also understanding that once you do quote unquote fail, it's not actually a failure. It's steps to success and step to building to where you want to be. And I think where you want to be is probably the last question I want to tell you before we get into a little bit of fun stuff to finish off. What is next for Mark11? Probably after like this pitch, is there any World Cup tournaments coming up? Anything that's we need to look out for, and where we can actually see you perform on the esports platform?
Yeah, so I've got currently my Premier League. So if I win the Premier League, and so we're currently in the quarterfinals, if we come and finish win the whole thing, I will qualify to the World Cup and the Champions League. But if not, I've got another chance, which is called like the play-ins. Obviously, like before the World Cup, you have another chance there where you compete between the people that hasn't qualified to the World Cup, and then you play in that. And if you win that, or not even win that, if you come like top, I think 12 or 16, you qualify straight to the World Cup. That's really the plan for this season so far. I just look forward to the biggest tournament of the year.
Awesome, and I'll try to tune in and look into it as much as I can, and then I'll obviously for everyone I'll link the Mark's profiles below, his X and his Instagram, and also a few links so you guys can have a look and see the latest updates on where Mark will be competing in the next tournaments and World Cups. And Mark, wishing you the best for your future, and again, thanks for coming on. But I think before we end it, I want to have a little bit of a game. It's going to be the blind
Yeah.
rankings. For those on the video, I'm going to have my phone on me, right? And I'm going to blind rank the top 10 players, but just a little stipulation, because obviously you play FIFA. We're gonna do it based on this year's current form and I guess how they perform in this week's FIFA. So, excuse my noise. I'm gonna put the volume down so then can work. And then yeah. But this segment. So for those that know, I've actually partnered up with my mate Mazakhary. He does haircuts at his home. Be sure to follow his Instagram page. I'll tag that in below as well, along with Mark's details as well. But we're going to segment this as the Mazakhary blind ranking top 10s. He also has his own blind rankings on his TikToks as well. So be sure to check those out. Maybe I'll have the chance to get on that too. So top 10 best players, remember, based on FIFA stats, not them being the GOAT in normal play. This is FIFA related, just so everyone knows. So the first one's Eusebio.
We'll go Eusebio. He can go fourth.
Fourth. All right. Next one. Pele.
Pele third. Pele's good.
Third. Pele is good in this game. Platini or Platini.
He can go gladly 10th.
Gladly 10th. No good in this game, huh? No. Roberto Baggio.
Sure, he can go 9th as well. They can both stay at the bottom.
They can both stay at the bottom. No good. And Di Stefano.
We're just filling up the bottom here. He can go 8th as well.
8th as well. Not a good list so far at the moment.
Yeah.
Johan Cruyff. That might make it a bit better.
There we go. Here we go. Okay, Cruyff. Second or fifth? We'll go for fifth. Go fifth.
Oh, tough take. You're expecting some good ones, hopefully. Bobby Charlton.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, we'll go sixth. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Sixth. All right, so we've got 7, GOAT, and 2. So Maldini.
What have we got left? 1, 2, and
7. 1, 2, and 7. So you're banking on a good list here.
Okay. Maldini can go. We'll go 7th, and here we go.
7th. All right, a quick rapid 2 and 1. Yeah. Let's go. Ronaldo R1. Haha, that's good.
There we go. That's perfect.
Good,
so
good.
Is it R9 or CR7?
R9.
R9, yeah, first.
First. And last one before we wrap this. It runs out of time. Georgie Best.
Second, that's fine. You can have second.
Yep. So when I'll wrap this up, so basically from the rankings that we have, Ronaldo, the GOAT, Georgie Best at 2, Pele at 3, Serbia at 4, Johan Cruyff at 5, Bobby Charlton at 6, Paolo Maldini at 7, Di Stefano at 8, Roberto Baggio at 9, and Michel Platini at 10. So thoughts on that list?
I can't lie. If you switch like Cruyff with Best, that's probably our perfect list. So it's a very, very good list if we switch Cruyff with Best. But yeah, it's decent still.
That's pretty good. Would that be a winnable team on FIFA?
Yeah, for sure. The top like 5 or 6 would carry enough, so it's fine.
Yeah, and you're missing the keeper. So let's just, for the sake of it, who would you add as a keeper if you were to choose?
Van der Sar. Nice tall guy.
No, perfect. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. So once again, Mark, thank you so much for coming in and being a guest on my show. I really wish you the best on your journey going forward in esports, and hopefully everyone has a little bit of a perspective on how kind of the esports grind works, and you guys don't just see it as just a standard video game, something that is similar to real physical sports as well. So again, Mark, thank you so much for tuning in today.
All good. It was a pleasure. Thank you. And I hope that helps the people that are watching.
Yeah, good luck on your tournaments coming up, and a safe flight to England too. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Cheers, guys. That's a wrap for this week's episode of the Huddle Within podcast. I appreciate you for tuning in and being part of the community where we go beyond the game into what really matters. If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who sees sports just the way that we do. And hey, I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on my social medias, which will be linked down on the episode below and also into the podcast description. Send in your thoughts or even be part of a future episode. Until next time, keep that passion alive, stay in the huddle, and remember, it's always deeper than the game. Until next time, cheers.